the shit's about to kick off, this party looks whack. Let's take it back to straight hip-hop and start it from scratch. I'm about to bloody this track up, everybody get back.
Hey, it's me again with my high production value videos, and I'm here to give you sort of a general update on what's going on with my channel and what I'm aimed to do in the future. Some of you may have been wondering why my channel has been so dry lately and what's happened to the whole Alpha Youth series. You know, what's happened to Ben and Jason. Well, I'll tell you what's happened.
Nothing, you idiots.
Ben, Jason.
Dead, he's locked in my basement.
But in all seriousness, I think I might be giving Alpha a break at the current moment. Religion and Alpha is a fine subject to do, but I have hopes and aspirations in other fields that I'd like to cover. Particularly with the whole new growing trend of debunking social justice warrior claims. And I know that sounds pretentious and like, you know, a bit jerk off to me, but like, yeah, and I agree that the term SJW has become a little bit polluted as of lately. But then again, there's lots more content that needs to be addressed around this particular issue. I feel that I should tackle channels that spew out this incredibly far leftist bullshit, like the Young Turks or BuzzFeed, or, you know, just stuff along those lines. But I wish to lay down some ground rules before I actually do. One is that I don't intend for my audiences to harass people. So if you want to go harass a person I've responded to, then please don't. I don't encourage that. Two, I describe myself as a liberal, as a person who is sort of on the left. You know, I say sort of because, you know, the left has been so far gone, but that does not mean I am right-wing Nazi or, you know, anything Republican, anything along those lines. I'm just criticizing the left's bullshit at the current moment. Now, particularly around the areas of, you know, social and identity politics. You know, that includes, you know, race, gender, religion, any of those things that people seem to get twisted and, you know, very divisive topics. So groups like, you know, third wave feminists or Black Lives Matter, or you know, people who spew out, you know, garbage like BuzzFeed. I will be addressing other things, so don't worry if that's not your thing. I will maybe do movie reviews or maybe other topics that interest me along those lines. But I think that'll be the core focus of my channel. I think one of the reasons why I might be doing this is because it's such a frustrating set of ideas and a frustrating topic to go through, because, you know, it's such a complete pool of madness that, you know, needs to be addressed. And thankfully the internet is waking up to, you know, the absurdities of, you know, college campus identity politics. You know, the whole safe space, you know, trigger warnings, you know, finger snapping. You know, like, and I'm not alone on this. There are many people who agree with me. I think one of the reasons why I might be sort of addressing it is because while I am not a fan of religion, it appears that most of these people treat their political views as if it were a religion itself, you know. And this has been pointed out many times, but I think that's the great irony of it all. Like people like Steve Shives, or, you know, many of these renowned atheists have seemed to have, you know, dropped their former religion and just replaced it with radical leftism, or just, you know, replaced it with identity politics. You know, they replaced it with social justice and, you know, in Marxism. So, you know, that's the great irony of it all. They abandoned dogmatic and biased thinking for dogmatic and biased thinking. And, you know, people on the right, and it's not just social justice warriors who do this, but it appears they have a lot of control over the future. I mean, they run these sort of ideas are running rampant in, you know, college places where kids are growing up. It's getting into schools. It's getting into the mainstream media. I mean, it all centers around this idea of, you know, the progressive stack. If you're a white straight male, you're shit, and if you're anything else, you know, you are oppressed. I mean, it's almost sadomasochistic in its nature. It's, you know, hate this group of people because of skin tone, genitals, etc. And and we are oppressed because X. And again, like religion, the great irony is that they seem to have a claim on morality. We just want equality. We're looking out for the little guy. We're just against oppression. That's fine. So am I. But it's sort of become very dishonest and very propaganda-like in its nature. And like I said, very toxic. I mean, like the terms sexist, racist, etc. have a lot of weight to them, and and they're being used so haphazardly as of recently, and it just seems to stifle conversation. I mean, it's a good way to get out of a conversation that's really tricky. Just cry label and get people to stop talking about it, or just cry label and claim superiority. A lot of other people do this too. A lot of other people use labels too. Like SJW is technically a label, but for the sake of this video, I think most people know what I'm talking about. But it seems to be incredibly pernicious when it comes to when far leftists use it, and because social justice warrior, at least in my own sort of definition, is a person who subscribes to incredibly socially progressive views. And there's nothing wrong with being progressive. It's just, again, one of the other things that's like religion, they love to avoid facts and go for narrative instead. So that's the gist of it all. It appears to be mostly just people looking for brownie points, social brownie points, and saying, you know what, hey guys, I care about the big issues, but at the same time just being completely wrong and being completely naive and juvenile about the nature of the world, and like in the disguising it in like a veil of fairness. They seem to have like hijacked terms like equality, etc., just to justify their own hatred. So, how can you argue against equality? Equality is a good thing. I like equality. Everyone loves equality. Everybody wants it. So if you seem to be going against their narrative, even though their narrative is bullshit, they can just as easily turn around and bite you on the ass and say, you're racist, you're sexist, you're Islamophobic, you're homophobic. When really what you've said really isn't racist, etc. Like, of course, I'll call out racism, sexism, etc. But when there's instances of none of that, when it's just when the situation is based on a lie, then yeah, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. And people, of course, have the right to respond to me and respond to my views. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with discussion and discussing things with people. I won't block you and I won't ban you for disagreeing with me. I'm not that kind of person. I hope to encourage honest conversation about these sort of things. And if you ever disagree with me, let me know. I don't want my ideas and all my views to be unchallenged. I mean, that's not what that's the very definition of an echo chamber. The very thing we criticize people for doing. Because when you got no one but yourself spewing your own bullshit back to you, you're not going to hear another opinion. So, yes, I encourage open debate and open discussion about these topics at hand. That's if people are willing to, which a lot of the time they aren't. But I'm getting too far into it. I'm sounding like an old drunk man, rattling on about how the shit the world is. You're going to have to forgive me for all the stuttering and stammering and editing. I mean, I'm not used to speaking off the cuff, and that's most of this video, so I should have given a warning prior to that. But that's it. Go home. Fuck off.